Good afternoon, everyone. Today is September 25th, 2022. Globex has not opened just yet. Uh, this is for a weekly plan for the week of September 26th to 30th, which also lines up with the end of the quarter as well as the end of the month. We have sold off dramatically. Price was trading at 41.37 just a couple weeks ago, and now we are back inside of this balance here with around that 3900-ish capping the upside of balance. And we actually fell below this bottom of balance at 37.44 to 37.22-ish. That's roughly where we opened on Friday, and we sold off down to around the weekly POC of the lows of the year, and we caught a bid, which was likely just short covering into the close. Now, before I go on, just because we are covering a 500-point range in the past couple weeks, I think it's important to just gather where we are in general. We had excessive selling off into around 39.22, which was where we had our initial rally. We sold off of the August pocket 41.37, where we had trapped many longs, and then we came down. We caught a bid at 38.57, the July POC, and I'd written that the bid is probably temporary, and it was indeed, and we fell down, and now we're looking at the lows of the year. I'm looking for this 40-50-ish area, 40-54-75 being the 2021 prior year value area low. I think that'll cap us for the rest of the year, quite honestly. I think we're done with the 4100s and upwards. I'd be surprised if we can make it up there. So I'm looking for 40.54 to cap us easily for the rest of the month. Now let's move down onto the weekly time frame. We have a ton of news this week. We've got Mester at the close, but Tuesday, JPOW, durable goods, Bullard, consumer confidence, all before 10 a.m. Wednesday, again, JPOW. Thursday, Bullard and Mester. Friday, PC, Brainerd, and U of M. So in other words, not only have we sold off 500 points in the past couple weeks, we also have a week full of news. So creating a weekly plan is not really, it's probably not going to be very accurate. I will say that outright. However, what we can do is day to day we can look at how what the structure looks like at a higher time frame and go on with that. So what I have here is the low of the week. The low of the week 2021 low at 52.50 and 36.39 is our low of the year. This will be kind of our key support area. If that falls down, we're going to look for 35.90-ish to trade. That was just kind of a balance area, as well as the November 30th low of the week. And below that, 35.42. Again, a couple weekly lows were put in there. And then in that key support down here, we have the Q4 open from 2020, I believe. Yeah, the Q4 open, November value area low. There's a weekly value area low. There's a weekly low. There's just a lot of stuff around here that I doubt we break. Now, in general, what I'm going to be looking for is if we hold the lows of the year, this kind of, let's call it the low of the year zone, I'm looking for rapid trade between these two, just because this was quite an aggressive sell-off. We have a gap above, and once we get to this 37.75 area, that is where we have, let me just pull this up, that's where we have our prior week's value area low at 77.50. That's what I've marked off. You also have Q2 value area low around there. So in general, what I'm looking for is, as a pivot, we'll likely break this value area low from last week and get back up towards 38.57. I know there's a spike base from FOMC at 33. However, I think that's more minor for a weekly plan. On the daily, I will be watching that. But 38.57 is our July POC. That's also where we're kind of putting in a monthly value area low on the month right now. We also have a weekly POC from last week at 77.25, so that's why. So 77.25, last week's POC, kind of a weekly value or a monthly value area low is developing here, and the July POC. So that'll be kind of an area of minor resi on the week. Now, if we break that, I'll expect us to come back up towards where we've done a lot of volume. The year-to-date value area low is sitting at, I believe, 39.12 12-ish or 15, somewhere around there. We also have weekly value area high. Last week's monthly value area high sitting a little bit higher in the 4,000s. It's hard to keep track of all these. Last week's value area high is sitting at 39.25-ish, so right around the weekly high. So the idea being is this is key resi because not only does it get you back into the year-to-date value area, it also puts you above last week's high, and that's when you start to really get momentum to the upside. Uh, I strongly think we will not break that. Not only are you asking for a 200-point ripper off of last week's close, you're also asking for a move out of that balance area that we described just a few minutes ago. This balance area. You're asking for a move back out of this, which I don't think you're going to really get. With momentum where it is, it's going to be quite hard to do that. So, and then 39.7450, we put in, I believe the year to date, or the month to date POC is at, 66. So this is when you start getting into where we put in a few weeks worth of volume, and it's quite unlikely to break. And 40.50, again, we're getting towards that 2021 value area low. And if you start getting into there, then we're talking about 4200s, which, again, just because we did lose this balance area with the acceptance below 57, the July POC, it's just unlikely that you end up shooting off to the 4200s. So, with all that said, what am I looking for? What I'm looking for is two scenarios. One, we hold key support. We trade around the pivot. That'll probably take a day in and of itself. And then we trade up towards this minor resi. We might be able to get through it, but I'm not seeing us breaking this mid 39, low to mid 3900s. Instead, what I'll look for is pretty quick two-way trade in here, just because it was so thin. I think we'll spend some time filling it out, filling out sort of this distribution and this distribution. So I'll expect these two distributions to fill out a little bit, and then we might be able to put in a high of the week somewhere around here, the 38.50s to 39.50s, and hold this key support. Now, if this does break, I would caution trying to catch the knife, and in general, I would caution trying to trade intraday until we establish a range. For example, what I would be doing is let this sell off, and then if we open the next day inside of it, trade within it, and then if it sells off again, hold off on it. It's just going to be a little bit too whippy to hold to trade with accuracy. 35.12 again, or all those the Q4 open, the November value area low, that sort of stuff. I doubt we'd sell off below there. Now, one final thing before I sign off, as this is becoming a 10-minute video. Let's go back to here. I showed this last week. Here's our pre-COVID all-time high at 393.75. Here's our current low of the year at 639. This is our September high so far, and here's our August high. So, in general, what I'm thinking is that this is sort of a large churn area, and given that we put in a ton of volume around 39.70-ish, I'm going to think of this more so as our churn area for now, 39.70-ish to around the monthly value area low at 38.50-ish. So that's going to be kind of our churn area. So again, just to conclude, tons of news. We've finally accepted below this back into this balance area. I doubt we break the upside of that balance just because it is year-to-date value area low. It's unlikely to break, and we've done a ton of volume here. Instead, I'm going to look for a pretty quick two-way trade between the two. Hope that helps. Really take it day to day. Try and be safe. This isn't a month to be a hero. It's the end of the month. It's end of quarter. Wait for a range to sort of establish itself and go from there.